The root squadrons are a reflection of player choices. In Ace Combat Zero, in addition to certain boss fights that are dependent on what level is happening, the game introduces a morality system based around 3 different playstyles. The mercenary playstyle, where the player attacks every target to get the maximum payout. The soldier playstyle, where the player only attacks green highlighted targets that are military. Or the knight playstyle, where the player only attacks designated targets needed to complete the mission. Each of these playstyles has significant impacts in gameplay, more specifically on the squadrons the player will fight when entering Area B7R in each of the 3 occasions. The first time the player enters B7R is Mission 3, the Round Table. Here they encounter 1 squadron dependent on their playstyle up to this point.
Target spotted.
Indigo Team is the squadron the player will fight if they've played via the Knight style. Indigo 1 is a fighter pilot who follows the code of the Belkan Knights and other such codes of chivalry, which the Knight style was named after, as they only attack those that pose a direct threat. After the war, during one of his interviews, he says that he is convinced that Cypher had followed those same rules via doing the Knight style, and as such that he survived the war. Run Team is a fighter squadron you fight if you've done the soldier style. He's an experienced fighter who has been claimed. Run 1 is an experienced fighter who was claimed to have the eyes of an owl, can analyze his enemy, and this would lead to his many victories and growing fame. After the war, when interviewed, he stated that Cypher was a pilot that appeared every so often. Was the kind of pilot who appeared every so often and was able to outmaneuver him even with his analysis of the situation, and was simply unpredictable, resulting in his victory.
Time to hunt some wild dogs.
Rot Team is opponent for the Mercenary for Mission 3. Rot 1 is a pilot who fights with Belka's pride in mind, and is proud of his country's Air Force's abilities and has a disdain for mercenaries like Cypher. After the war, when interviewed, he theorized that maybe the lack of allegiance to a country allowed Cypher to fly more faster without need for moral concern or anything of the sort. The second encounter is Mission 10, Mayhem. This is where we get another representation of the choices with 3 different squadrons.
This will be your final lesson.
The Knight style for Mission 10 is Silver Team. Silver 1 is a veteran pilot who was in charge of training the new recruits, whom he was considered his sons. After the war, it is revealed that during the battle, though he survived, Cypher had shot down all of his sons. But he didn't blame Cypher, saying that he only carried out what destruction was necessary to complete the mission, reflecting the Knight style of play.
Schnee 1 to all units. Release your missiles.
Schnee Team is the opponent for the soldier. Schnee 1 is called the Eternal Second Lieutenant in his Air Force, by a pilot who refuses to go accept any promotions, only wanting to continue flying with his squadron. After the war, he expressed his desire to face Cypher again, but saying that would never happen because he was now a civilian instructor, kind of as a representation of what the soldier player might look like.
Schwartz leader to all units. Escaping craft is headed this way.
Finally, for Mission 10's mercenary players, they have to face Schwartz. Schwartz 1 is a former mercenary who then enlisted in the Belkan Air Force. His squadron is given the task of hunting down possible deserters. After the war, it is revealed that he is hunted for multiple crimes committed, and though he is convinced that being a hero will get you killed like the others, he is also convinced that those who go via the mercenary style and fight like him live their lives in hell, but still survive. The final one is Demon of the Round Table. Final time, the player will enter B7R before the game's conclusion.
This is Wizard 1. The Demon Lord has captured the
The Knight style is Wizard Team. Wizard 1 is the Allied Forces pilot who defects to a world with no boundaries and is believed to be a founder of the organization. It is revealed that after the war, he'd been captured by Oseans and put in an Osean prison, where he expressed his belief that the world will eventually change without the need for drastic actions by the likes of himself, reflecting hope in the world mirrored by the Night Style.
North 1 to all units. Begin the operation.
Gold Team is the Soldier Frigate, considered by many to be the best of all squadrons in Ace Combat Zero. He's the leader of the world with no boundaries. He believes that the political end of the Balkan War, which he calls a disgusting squabble over who will get the largest share of the pie, will just lead to more wars, and in a way, he is proven right. He is confirmed to be killed in the battle, and his interview, it just shows what he has left as his legacy.
Sorcerer 1 to all planes. Apply full thrust.
Sorcerer 1 is the final opponent for the Mercenary, and is similar to Wizard 1 in being a founding member of A World With No Boundaries and an Allied Forces pilot who defected. He is interviewed after the war, where it is shown that Mercenary Cypher was a kind of pilot to make him feel fear for the first time in any opponent he faced because of his ruthlessness. The different routes of Ace Combat Zero are an interesting way that the developers added ludonarrative dissonance into Ace Combat. Ludonarrative dissonance is a concept of the actions that you will do in the game having an actual impact on story and characters inside the game. The different squadrons all reflect what Cypher is during the different routes. For instance, Schwartz and his ruthlessness in Mercenary, Silber and his belief that Cypher only carried out the necessary destruction to complete his mission, and Galt in his belief that the necessary destruction should be done, but no civilians harmed. The post-war interviews are another interesting thing that Ace Combat Zero does, and it shows the impact that the three different playstyles have had on the characters and the world around them.